Okay, good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have you heard about the Benadryl challenge? This is a challenge that's been around for years, and unfortunately, it is making its way back to a number of people online, specifically young teens. This is something that we saw back in 2020. And kids are doing it once again. In fact, in Ripley, Tennessee, the middle school issued a warning last week that taking too much Benadryl could be life-threatening. They listed various warning signs of an overdose, which includes extreme drowsiness, rapid heartbeat, seizures, confusions, that sort of thing. It came to the public attention back in 2020, but it is resurfacing right now. Let's bring in a local doctor to talk a little bit more about this. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Dr. Rudy Kink. He works with Bonheur Children's Hospital Emergency Medicine. Rudy, tell me about this challenge, specifically the problems with it and what you are seeing with your practice. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Well, Benadryl is one of these medications that we probably all have in our house because it's especially this time of year with allergies. And it's one of the medications that if you take a little too much, you can start having some serious problems. So you can, like you were saying, you can have sleepiness, your mouth can get really dry. Sometimes I've seen where kids were unable to urinate because it has what we call anticholinergic effects. I've seen it to where they've hallucinated. And then it has become life-threatening to where some kids needed to be resuscitated and brought into the ICU because they've taken too much. And there's a fine line between taking a lot and then too much. Benadryl can be deadly if you take too much.
Let me ask you something because it was something that I can remember us talking about 5 years ago, back in 2020. The public really knew about this kind of challenge out there. Why does this stuff resurface again and again?
You know, I can't explain that. I do have teenagers and they start to see things going around and then they want to try it and they hear about the effects. And I don't know why it resurfaced and came about this time, but it is something we have been seeing.
So are there warning signs that you are telling parents about? Have you seen many people, kids, teens, overdose recently with this, Rudy?
We have seen a couple teenagers overdose, and just like with every parent, what we talk about is keeping all medications, Tylenol, Motrin, Benadryl, just keep it out of store. And then also observing what your kids are watching on TikTok and things like that, and talk to them about it, keeping that line of communication. So prevention is probably the best ounce here on preventing these problems.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so we're showing some video here because apparently it was very popular on TikTok and certainly it has resurfaced right now. What would you recommend for parents to look for in terms of warning signs?
So a couple ones is if you see your child is acting unusual, they're not really responsive, they're not really looking at you. The black part of their eyes, we call them the pupils, are pretty big. Usually in a bright light, these get really small. If they're open, if their mouth is really dry to where they're having trouble talking, you can suspect that your child took or is doing the Benadryl challenge. At that point, you need to seek medical care immediately. Either calling 911 or bringing them to the emergency room. Sometimes they can have seizures. Sometimes if they're really sleepy, look around the room. It's really helpful as a physician if you have a general idea of how much medicine they may have ingested.
What is actually the Benadryl challenge?
So the Benadryl challenge is just what it says. These kids are trying to take as much Benadryl as they can, and they're filming themselves doing it and the effects, and then they're kind of talking about how they're hallucinating and things like that, and that's what they're doing. And everybody kind of has their own little form of Benadryl challenge, and they're trying to, in my opinion, one up the other person to get the likes on TikTok and things like that.
I gotcha. Anything else you want to mention to some of the parents out there, perhaps some teens as well?
Yeah, so it is a serious Benadryl is a very serious medication. It can be life-threatening. Kids can die from it. So keep all medications out of reach, and kids, do not try it. There's a lot of other things you can do out there for life, but this should not be one of them.
Okay, Dr. Rudy Kink with Bonheur Children's Hospital, thanks so much for joining us and letting us know about this Benadryl challenge that once again is resurfaced and is a concern among many people here in the Mid-South and across the country. We appreciate your time. Thank you.